unless you would believe that you could stack up 2.3 million rocks and get it square to within plus or minus 1/2 inch by accident. Hell, I couldn't build an outhouse by accident that close. And furthermore, all of the pyramids are accurate. Furthermore, they're aligned with the astronomical signs in the universe. They're aligned with true north. They're aligned with the various planets, for crying out loud. Planets with orbits and with numbers that go along with them. Have you heard some of these numbers? 583.82 days. And with calculations on the moon, out to 4 or 5 or 6 decimal places, for crying out loud. And these are written records. These are written records that are well known by the Smithsonian Institution. But they're not publishing that. They hide it and they bury it. And you ought to be asking yourself this question. Why? Charlotte Isherby wrote a book called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. When you withhold that kind of information from people, there can only be one reason. We don't want you to know that. Why? Because we want you to remain ignorant. We have a political agenda. Here's what we want you to believe. Here's what we're going to teach you. That the pyramid was built with goat gut, but we couldn't calculate its accuracy until 1964 with a laser transit. I feel ashamed that I swallowed that line of horse pucky, but then I did. Didn't have any reason not to. Now in Assyria, Jupiter rages like the sun. We have now found that Jupiter's interior is much hotter than had been estimated, that it spews deadly radiation out into space. Jupiter wallows in a seething mass of hydrogen and helium gas clouds, forming a turbulent atmosphere, some planet. Tornadoes and cyclones whirled across its surface. Perhaps they've raged nonstop for thousands of years. So reported the Australasian Post of May 10th, 1979, concerning Voyager 1's discovery in March of that year. The first sensation was when Voyager 1 detected and reported a blinding light above it, so strong that it appeared to sensors to be even brighter than the sun as seen from the Earth. It is an aurora which engulfs the whole of Jupiter. Jupiter sends out ray particles. Jupiter is the largest producer of rays in our solar system. Now, how did the Assyrians know that? Remember, the Assyrian Empire has been destroyed, for thousands of years now. And so what we dig up in Assyria or Babylon out of these archaeological digs, when we find these clay tablets and so on, and we decipher them, we read what these ancients had reported, Did you know that these reports even existed? Has anybody ever told you that? First time I saw, numbers like this is when I read this chapter on the secret planets. Are we in for more surprises here? The astronomical evidence that these ancients in the past had this kind of knowledge. In order to have this kind of knowledge, they had to have a Mount Palomar-sized telescope. Now, I wouldn't be a bit surprised by what they had a Hubble telescope out here in Earth orbit, because some of the information that's given here would indicate to me that in order for them to know this, they must have been dealing with space flight and space travel. In fact, he's got a chapter in here on ancient science, space travel and flight. I haven't covered all the chapters. I can't read the whole book to you here on the air, but I can review it. I can tell you some of the more sensational parts of it and the details. If you're interested, you have to learn for yourself. You can get a copy of this book, by the way, and if you can't find it anywhere else, let me suggest that you go to www.bravenewbookstore.com. Let's get on the web. It's bravenewbookstore.com. They got a phone. It's in Austin, Texas. It's 512-480-2503. That's 512-480-2503. Brave New Bookstore. The book here is published in 2004, so it's fairly recent. You should be able to get a copy of it at your local bookstore. Barnes & Noble is our local bookstore here in Springfield, and they usually carry a pretty good selection of books. And so I picked it up, and I couldn't believe what I was reading. I said, geez, I'm going to review this. This is a 1 in 100 read. I grade books like this. It's a 1 in 20. That is, you'll read 20 books, and then you'll find a book like this. This is one of those 1 in 100 books. This might be a 1 in 1,000 books. I'm pushing 70, and I've never read anything like it. Never seen anything like it. Didn't know it existed. I'll tell you what blew me away was this weaponry section over here, where there are 25 sites around the world that have the green glass that is produced only by nuclear explosions, like the explosion at Alamogordo, New Mexico. And that's what blew me away. I said, oh my God, we've already had nuclear war on this planet. We've already had nuclear war on this planet. From the time that God in the antediluvian world took a look around and he said, you know, I'm going to destroy this thing with a worldwide flood. I'm going to wipe this thing out. He said, they only think of evil continually. It describes our world today to a T. All we think about today is war and rumors of war. It's just constant evil continually on planet Earth today. We're at about the same point that we were in Noah's day. And God judged the world in that time, and he's about to judge the world a second time. And he says, hey, this is coming, so pay attention, wake up, smell the coffee. And all we've done so far is give him the finger. But I would suggest that we think about that and say, well, I'm not really sure I want to give this guy the finger anymore. You might not be in our best interest. So that's where this section is here on astronomy. There's a couple more sections in here on astronomy that how about beyond our solar system here in China? The blue of the sky is merely an optical illusion. In India and Greece, the universe is infinite. The distance to and between the stars is immeasurable. In Mali, the stars are much more distant than the planets. In India, Greece, and from the Bible, the stars cannot be numbered. In Greece, the stars are blazing suns like our sun, and some of them are larger than our sun. In Sumeria and Greece, each star is the center of a planetary system. On June 13th, 1984, Dr. Hartmut Aumann announced to the American Astronomical Society that 40 nearby stars show excess infrared emission, suggesting that they may be orbited by solid material or even planets. You know, we just have come to that understanding or that knowledge within my lifetime. And these ancient people already knew about it and wrote about it. How did they know? Where did they get the information? 6 months later, Professor Donald McCarthy and Frank Lowe from the University of Arizona claimed to have actually discovered a planet moving around the Van Biesbroek 8 star in the Ophiuchus constellation, some 21 light years. That's 125,000 billion miles from Earth. It had a mass 30 to 80 times that of our Jupiter. Credit for this first discovered planet outside our solar system was counterclaimed by Professor Robert Harrington of the Washington Naval Observatory, who said he saw the planet 18 months earlier with two other astronomers. Now, we have just recently come to the conclusion that there are planets orbiting these stars out in space. Now, that's information that was known in Sumeria and Greece at least 2,000 years ago. How did they know that? Did they have telescopes? Did they have a science, a technology, an astronomy equal to where we're at today, and perhaps even farther advanced than ours today? Because much of what's reported here in the book Dead Men's Secrets, we don't have any technology to duplicate what they did back 2,000-3,000 years ago. Now that's a thought for you. Well, I'm about out of time again here, boys and girls, so we'll have to leave it right there. Remember, the book is called Dead Men's Secrets, Jonathan Gray. You can get them at www.teachservices.com. All right, we're about out of time, so let me remind you that you've been listening to The Law Hour, an editorial review sponsored by the Gordon Law School of Isabella, Missouri. Remember, The Law Hour is heard 7 days a week here in the United States and worldwide over the Internet daily. The Law School is a private, non-commercial, non-profit, non-sectarian law school. We're open to individuals, but by prearrangement. Remember, the Law School offers a free 4-hour introductory CD package. Be sure to order yours by calling the Law School and asking for it. The number is 417-273-4967. That's area code 417-273-4967. Now, the Law Hour is carried worldwide over the Internet, and all of these Law Hour programs are archived on the Internet by title and date for your listening convenience. The Law Hour is an educational service brought to you in the public interest. Here, time's up. We're going to have to leave it right there, so we'll see you back here tomorrow night. Same time, same station. God willing, of course. So until then, thanks for listening, everybody, and good night, friends.